This is the meeting of the Arkansas Oil and Gas Commission, a division of E&E. And this is December the 9th meeting. I'll turn it over to our director now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we get started today, staff would like to propose an amendment to the remote attendance policy for the Oil and Gas Commission to give us more flexibility both for commissioners and participants in the future if the need may arise. I know we've encountered situations where witnesses could potentially be unable to get to one of our locations in person, whether they have a flight issue getting out of Houston or somewhere else. So before you should have a draft remote attendance policy. In my brief discussion with the chairman before this hearing, he suggested one single change, which was in the last sentence of the draft policy before you. In the event, he proposed striking the chair and placing the director as the approving authority for a commissioner, witness, or other member of the public to participate in a hearing. I have no issue with that change. I would put that before the commission for review and approval. If it is approved, that would allow Commissioner Lawson to participate in today's hearings.
I make the motion. Yes.
Have a motion from the chair and second from the vice chair. Any discussion?
You're going to be able to say no to some commissioner, director?
Within reason, I think I will be able to, but I would sincerely hope that, that any request would be made for good cause. So I don't think there will be an issue. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? What's the choice of the commission?
Show of hands. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Director, I guess I'm going to take over from here. On our regular docket, first item up, docket number 036-2025-06. Applicant is Texcom Peak Environmental Services, LLC. Attorney of record is Mr. Nathan Morgan. Subject is variance of financial assurance rule requirement, which is General Rule B2G4. Location is Section 30, Township 10 North, Range 13 West. County's Van Buren. Field is B43 well spacing area. Mr. Morgan, you are recognized. You can go ahead and take a seat there. I'm assuming that microphone is live.
Check.
Yep, pull it close to you, Mr. Morgan, so you don't have to lean over for it. Commissioners, are there any recusals on this docket? I've got one from Commissioner Bengal. I don't see anyone else on Zoom. Note for the record that Commissioner Bengal has recused. Mr. Morgan, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you. Commission, my name is Nathan Morgan. I represent Texcom. In front of you, I have placed a packet. I believe it's on the rail. Everybody has it in front of them on the rail. It's going to be the exhibit list with the exhibits 1 through 10. Some of those exhibits we didn't get till a little bit later before we turned it in. So we wanted everybody to have an accurate reflection of our exhibit list. And so if I could go through that exhibit list with everyone.
Please, sir, go ahead.
Okay. So this is a hearing, a follow-up hearing from, I believe, June of 2025. In that initial hearing, we introduced a number of exhibits. We would ask those to be republished for purpose of this hearing. And essentially the initial exhibits that are not in this packet that I've given you, the packet that I've given you are new exhibits. The initial exhibit showed the Peak, Texcom Peak site, showed pictures of the site, how well cared for, manicured the site is. It also showed the ownership of the site with a survey And that just was an exhibit that this is not a lease site. This is a site that Texcom, who operates the disposal, they own the site in fee simple. And so that's what those initial exhibits were. So you have in front of you exhibits 1 through 10. Exhibit 1 is the FIR 6 inspection reports for the year 2025. We asked for this variance from the commission, and we wanted to give a commission kind of an update on the site. There have been no bad inspections. Texcom has passed all inspections with no issues. And so exhibit 1 is all the inspections, which will show that there was no issues. Exhibit 2 is the 14A. So it's going to be the monthly class disposal reports. From exhibit 2, if everybody can look at that, you can kind of see how much activity is in this injection site. For an example, for January, they had 8,890 barrels of water. And if you flip to the second page, in February 2025, they had 1,125 barrels of water. And if you go through the rest of this exhibit B, it's going to be pretty similar. They're averaging about 1,100 barrels of water per month from this site. So although they do have a large capacity to hold water, at the current time, they are not actually disposing of all that much water. Exhibit 3, we prepared some exhibits as far as, because we are asking for this variance, we prepared some exhibits on the actual cost to the commission if this site did need to be remediated. Obviously, that is the purpose of this rule, is if there's a bad actor that the state has to come in, remediate a site, spend a substantial amount of funds. Exhibit 3, and also, not to skip around, but exhibit 10, those are going to be the costs if the site has to be plugged. So exhibit 3 is actually the bid for the casing, cementing, and then, not to skip around, but exhibit 10 is for the workover rig to pull the pipe, things like that. That exhibit, to do that, came in at the bid to plug the well if needed, came in at $22,194. If we move on to exhibit 4, exhibit 4 is a copy of the bond that we currently have, which is the plugging bond that is in place. Exhibit 5 is Texcom's GL policy. This might say something. Okay, just to show that we have all other insurances in place. Exhibit 6 is a letter from the current insurance agent of Texcom, Wes Newland, who's been Texcom's long-term insurance agent, and he discusses in this letter the issue with Texcom obtaining the bond, and that's one of the reasons we are asking for the variance, is because Texcom is having a very difficult time obtaining an actual bond to come in compliance with the new regulations without doing 100% secured bond. Essentially, like the plugging bond, we pay $1,500, we get the bond, but the surety is considering this bond an open bond. Essentially, they can't figure out exactly in this specific circumstance what their responsibility is and what the actual liability is. And so due to that, they're having a very difficult time underwriting the bond. And so they're just saying, well, if you want this bond, you're going to have to put up 100% collateral, which kind of ruins the purpose of a bond. Exhibit 7 is a letter of good standing from Bank 7, which is Texcom's bank, stating that Brian Pogue and Texcom have been customers and that they are in good standing at that bank. Okay, Exhibit 8. So Exhibit 8 and 9 are two things that we kind of wanted to dig into. Exhibit 8, obviously one of the issues with the commission and this bond is that the commission wants to be assured that if they did have to come in and remediate the site or fix the site, which, my understanding is that the commission has had to do that on a couple of sites with bad actors or whatever. That the bond that is in place could do that. And so because this is a site that is not a leased site. This is a commercial site owned by Texcom. There's two 11,000 gallon commercial tanks that are top of the line, in great shape. This isn't a site that will ever actually need to be remediated. It will be repurposed for another commercial purpose. It was specifically built for water disposal, but it's a commercial site. It will be repurposed. It won't have to be reclaimed like a lease site where water disposal is on a leased premises. It goes bad, the commission has to come in, cut up the tanks, do all that. That's not the case with this specific site. This site will be repurposed for another commercial purpose, and it's owned by Texcom. So a lot of the cleanup on this at the end of the day would never be the responsibility of the commission because it's owned in fee simple by the operator. So this Denali invoice is, there's a two essential main points. This Denali invoice is for the weir cleanup in 2022. There's two main cleanups for this site that would have to occur. One of them is the pits, and because obviously there's solid that go in the pits, and then the other is the solids in the tanks. Both of those would have to be cleaned. This invoice from 2022, Exhibit 8 is the last time the pits were cleaned. And so that costs $18,926.67. Might cost a little bit more now due to everything's gone up since then, but it's going to be, within 10% of that. Exhibit 9 is an invoice for both 11,000 gallon tanks to be cleaned, pressure washed, for the solids at the bottom of the tanks to be removed. There's 3 invoices in Exhibit 9, and those total $11,558.75. That was for the tank cleanup. It does not include the solid disposal, which we estimate to be around $7,000. So we're looking at a total cleanup cost on this site of $37,500. Essentially, if the commission had to come in and remediate the site to get because the water can be obviously pumped downhole, and then the site would need to be cleaned up. And these 2 invoices illustrate what it would cost and has cost to clean the site. And then lastly, like I said, Exhibit 10 goes with Exhibit 3, and I apologize that that's kind of out of order, but Exhibit 10 is going to be the quote for the rig time to pull the tubing in case of a plugging event. So
Mr. Morgan, let me ask you,
Okay.
You want to move the admission of those exhibits, right? 1 through 10?
Yes, I do, sir.
All right. That motion is granted. Those exhibits 1 through 10 are made part of the record. You also mentioned something about previous exhibits in the other docket that we had. Did you want to incorporate those by reference, or are those separate and distinct from this particular docket?
I would like to incorporate those by reference. Whenever we actually filed that petition, we included the exhibits in that petition. So I would just, for the record purposes, like for those to be included.
Do you remember what that docket number was?
It was
Same thing?
0. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was. This is a continuance of that.
All right. So this is a continuance. So those previous, how many exhibits were in the previous one? Do you know?
There were 4.
Morgan?
There was 6 exhibits. Exhibit 1 was the aerial map of site. Exhibit 2 was the deed vesting title and applicant. Exhibit 3 was pictures of the site labeled Exhibit 3.1 through 3.13. Exhibit 4 was the notice. Exhibit 5 was the proof of publication of notice. And Exhibit 6 was the survey site.
Right. The motion to incorporate those previous exhibits, and I guess they're already really part of the record as well, since this is a continuation. But I will note for the record that those previous 6 exhibits are also part of this docket. You have a witness, Mr. Morgan.
I did.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and swear him in. So do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, sir.
Thank you very much.
Can you state your name for the record?
Yes, Brian Pogue.
Mr. Pogue, you've had the opportunity to view exhibits 1 through 10, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and those are all accurate reflections of what they are supposed to reflect, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as your site goes, I know that we've already had extensive testimony regarding the care for your site and on your site. But can you briefly tell the commission why your injection site is different than most injection sites?
Well, probably a few things. One is the construction of the site. I think we went way above and beyond on the construction of every detail of the complete site, from tanks to tubing to pumps, whatever, aesthetics. And I built this site for basically a 50-year operation. I built it for oil and gas fluids to start with. And I knew at some point, if something happened, we could always repurpose this site for industry water or some other use or whatever it might be. But one thing, whenever I build a site, whichever state it's in, we always own our property. And all of our tanks, wellbore, everything we have is contained on our one site. We don't have contiguous property or don't have a remote. We don't have an offload site on one parcel, a remote site, a wellbore, whatever, half mile away. Everything we have is contained on one site. So we don't have leakage problems. We don't have pipeline problems getting water to a wellbore, because our wellbore, we can throw a rock from our offload to our wellbore. So I'm guessing after 48 years of doing this, I built a site that is, well, basically the best site that you could operate. So that's kind of in a nutshell. We've been around a long time. I understand Nathan and I had talked about, sediment, whatever, cleaning of tanks. If, for one thing, I paid $1 million for each tank, and there's 2 tanks on this site. So as far as coming in and cutting down the tanks on this site, it'll never, ever happen. We own the property fee simple. There's no encumbrances. We have a concrete pit, same thing, it's epoxy coated, and it has a 30 mil rubber liner on the exterior of all the complete pit, concrete, everything. So I built that thing so it can last 50 years also. So it, as far as being a safe site, I think it's the safest site, probably this particular state and every surrounding state. And I built some in most all those states. But as far as our bond, our large bond, it's being requested, I understand the crux of the issue maybe needing a bond for sites that are not such as this one, but in this particular site and its cleanliness and its record, 10, 12-year record of performance, I don't think that particular rule kind of fits this particular site, since this is upkeep to the highest degree, and we've had no issues. So ownership of the property and knowing that if we cease to do oil and gas business, the actual tank site and all that can be repurposed for something else. So some of this new bond, as far as reclaiming and cutting up property and tanks and all that, will never happen. The Van Buren County, we pay a huge amount of taxes on these property, the tanks. We have a very high assessment value, so Van Buren County wouldn't like to have these tanks cut up also. So that would ruin their tax base. Other than that, I think we're asking for partial relief or whatever from this particular demand, that it doesn't really fit this particular site. I think that's it.
And that's all the questions I have for.
Commissioners, any questions?
This is Charlie Wolford. What is staff's opinion on the application?
Thank you, Commissioner Wofford. I'd first like to say that I am not here to dispute anything Mr. Pogue says. Like he's got a a very good looking facility constructed, probably using the best technology at the time that it was built. It's not, I'll remind the commission, this particular question is not about the plugging of the well. Peak has the required financial assurance in place of $50,000 for the commercial disposal well. It's not even really about ownership of the site. It is about the potential liability that the commission may face if things go poorly. Right now, we have 29 commercial wells covered by this financial assurance within the state. 22 of them are in compliance with this financial assurance requirement. So there's fully 3/4 of the universe of commercial disposal wells who have complied with this requirement. Of those 22 that have complied, there are 10 that have filed equivalent $400,000 financial assurances. There are an additional 5, so 15 out of the 22 that have $300,000 or more in financial assurance in place already. So right now, what we're dealing with is 7 remaining wells that have not filed their financial assurance, and staff has not pursued the other 6 that are on the list because we were awaiting this determination of this hearing. But just so you get some perspective of the known universe of commercial wells and what can occur, we have the White saltwater disposal well in Union County. We've plugged the well, but at this point we have 8 400-barrel tanks that are mostly half full with some unknown goo that we're going to have to deal with sooner or later. We have 2 frac tanks that are full to the brim with the same unknown goo that we're going to have to deal with. We have another well in Union County, Championville Field, Purdue. That well is also plugged, but we have tanks and the associated surface equipment or junk that we're going to have to deal with because these companies went out of business and basically blew away with the wind. I'm not saying any of those things about Mr. Poe, but that is what staff has to look at when we review these kind of situations. We have multiple other wells previously operated by Capstone that remain unplugged and have some surface equipment and facilities for us to clean up. When the state has to do those things, it's never cheap. So I would ask the commission to deny this waiver request and be consistent across commercial saltwater disposal wells so that we have financial assurance in place for the what ifs. We are not trying to negatively impact Mr. Pope's business in any way, shape, or form. But as you can see, with 75% of the universe of these wells in compliance, that the remaining few are outliers. The only other thing that I would ask is if there is some deference for a time for compliance, that we keep it a reasonable time for them to get in compliance and file financial assurance. If necessary, we can share information about where some of these other companies have obtained financial assurance. Happy to try to answer any questions if I can.
That was one question I was wanting to know, Alan, was what kind of bond, or did they put cash securities up or what to get them in the?
I don't know details, but I imagine that we've had companies go either way, either have a bond or some kind of financial assurance with the bank. I can get those details for you.
Just curious. Trying to help me.
Alan, this is Charlie Wolford again. Is there a time frame you would recommend to help them get through the process of finding a bond?
I think, given the time of year and whatever resultant order this commission issues, probably 60 days from the date of the order to comply.
And probably the order wouldn't come out for a week or so.
10 days, 2 week, probably.
Okay. All right,
We'll try not to issue it Christmas Eve or anything like that.
okay.
Commissioner Thomas?
I'm a little bit, I'm majorly ignorant on this legally, and I certainly don't want to ask the staff to give a legal opinion. And I don't know what can be done today, but I want to express that I'm torn by this particular situation. It's obvious to all of us, as you just stated, Director, that these people have done a fantastic job. And they will continue. I have all confidence in the world they'll continue to. But me and you understand we have a rule.
Yes, sir.
And today's probably not the time to address it, but I would like to discuss in the future exactly what would our responsibility, the commission's responsibility, be in this situation. You've already stated, Alan, that we have our bond up for the plugging of the well. And we all know from plugging our own wells, that's the easy part. Getting rid of a tank battery and all that, that's when you start spending money, exactly what you just said. But in this situation, they own the land. They own all the equipment. And in other situations, people may own it or have a binding lease with a bona fide company or person who is sophisticated enough to enter into a deal to protect themselves. And I don't feel like it's the commission's responsibility to protect those people. If they're going to take a month's rental or rent, then that's their own contractual obligation and not ours. So if these people had bad times, meaning if they own the land in total, and they went kaput, it looks to me like our responsibility as a commission would be go plug their well. And then somebody else would own that stuff.
And again, this is not if I may, this is not a statement on Mr. Pogue or his business or anything like that. It's really a matter of what is.
I don't know that it's our responsibility to fix that surface thing. And so I'm probably wrong, and I don't want to discuss it today.
Understood.
But you see my situation. I'm not sure that it applies to someone that owns their own property.
And I didn't mention this at the outset. When this commission took over regulatory authority for the surface facilities, it did so taking over from DEQ, who did not have any financial assurance mechanisms in place. And given the timing of the matters, some of these wells were under DEQ's time as being the responsible entity. There's no mechanism under DEQ's regulatory authority to clean up the example like the white disposal. And eventually it becomes a real environmental concern if those tanks start leaking and whatever's in them. So it's not really about Mr. Pogue's business. By all accounts, he's a good businessman and does things the right way. Doesn't have an extensive regulatory history with us. So it's really about what ifs and the rest of the universe of these folks.
I understand that. And if there's a motion, I may not vote the way you want me to vote, but I'm not going to like it if I vote against you. I can tell you that. Thank you.
Any?
You said the word business. Do you have some customers for this water? Flywheel?
We have an MSA with Flywheel. It's actually a new MSA. Yes.
Thanks.
Commissioner Phillips?
If I heard you right, you testified that not count the well, but for you to clean everything up was $30-something thousand. Is that what you said?
Our numbers look like 37,500 from what we see, we would have to clean up, excluding the well portion.
So that's removing the tanks and the concrete and
Commissioner,
everything.
no, that is cleaning, if we had to clean the tanks, we'll open those big doors. We can decide to clean the sediment out of the tanks and haul it to a disposal, landfill, application, whatever. But that's to clean the sediment out. At that point, you can leave the doors wide open on these tanks are $1 billion a piece. We'll never, ever cut them down, ever in my lifetime or anybody else's lifetime. We only, it's simple. So I understand the sediment on the bottom. If that's a requirement, we can do that. We have, and I have done that in the past. So there is a cost associated with cleaning sediment. If you got a couple feet of sediment to get rid of, there's a cost. And whatever Nathan had come up with on his figures, that is a real cost.
How much money you got in? 2 million just for tanks.
7 million,
What do you pay in property taxes
14,000.
a year?
Yes, sir.
Something like
One item that I will make note of is the assumption that the tanks would be empty, requiring just basically the cleanup of the bottoms. What we're encountering is the tanks are not empty, and the wells may not have integrity to dispose of the fluids. Again, this is not about Mr. Polk's specific request, because I understand his position. This is about the what ifs if things go poorly and either the public or other entities are expecting some action by this commission to address a situation.
So it is standard across the board.
It is purely mathematical. It's based upon tank size, storage size on site, and also whether or not they have a sump. And again, we've got 10 other SWD wells that have already put up the 400,000.
Any other commissioners?
Can I say one other thing? Okay, Texcom is not asking that this rule be struck down. We're not asking that it not be enforced against all other entities. We're saying because of our track record, because of this unique situation, we are asking for a variance that just applies to Texcom in this site.
All right, anything else from the commission? Mr. Morgan, do you have anything else besides what you just said, or do you rest at this point, sir?
We'll rest.
All right. Thank you very much. With that, I'll call the evidentiary part of the record to a close. This matter is ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission?
Judges, Charlie Wolford, I'm going to make the motion that the application be denied, that a 60-day time window be set to comply with the rules as they exist. Their internal testimony indicates that there's $60,000, give or take, already of cleanup costs. The rules are transparent, and in that case, I don't see that they cause a hardship on anybody. You can read the rules in advance and know what your business decisions are going to be. I think consistency of rules are important for the commission. So those are the reasons for my motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Wolford. Commissioner Wolford's made a motion. Is there a second? Commissioner Phillips has seconded. Any other discussion from the commission on this one? Again, I will note for the record, Commissioner Bengal has recused. All in favor, show of hands. 4, 5. All right, I've got 6 hands in the air. All opposed? Commissioner Lawson, Commissioner Thomas, did you put your hand up? You voted for it? All right, motion passes. Get that directed.
What did y'all
Commissioner Lawson, I think voted no. Did you vote no, Commissioner Lawson?
No, I voted for it. I voted in
Oh,
affirmative.
sorry. It looked like you came in late. Apologies. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
Our next item, docket number 078, 2025-12. Applicant is Weiser Brown Operating Company. Mr. Daly is the attorney of record. Subject is exceptional location. Location is section 3 Township 16 South Range 24 West. Counties Lafayette. Field is Louisville, Old Town. Commissioner Weiser, I assume you were recusing from this one? Any other recusals on this matter? For the record, there were none other than Commissioner Weiser. Mr. Daly, you are recognized.
Thank you, Judge Moulton. Give me just a moment.
No problem.
I think we actually did follow that maps. Yeah. I didn't say. Yeah, that's that. The applicant's documentary evidence is summarized and tabulated on its Exhibit G. I'd like for each of the commissioners, if you will, look at your exhibits C and D and be sure that they are in fact drawn on the Biloxi Sandstone Formation. I think I confused the issue earlier this morning, finding the wrong maps in my file, but I think that we actually filed the correct file maps. If that is the case, we move the admission of those exhibits summarized and tabulated on Exhibit G, and recognition and incorporation by reference of the qualifications of Mr. Ken Fritchie, first recognized in order reference number 68-85 as an expert in petroleum geology.
Well, thank you, Mr. Daly. Motion to include exhibits A, B, C, D, E, F, G as is granted. Those motions are now part of the record. I mean, now those exhibits are part of the record. And your motion to acknowledge Mr. Fritchie's expertise is also granted and recognized. Please proceed.
Ask that Mr. Fritchie be sworn.
Let me go ahead and swear him in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give in this hearing is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you,
Ken,
sir.
please state your name
Ken Fritchie,
and how are you employed?
as a consultant for Weiser Brown Oil Company.
As a geologist?
Yes, as a geologist, yes.
Have you prepared exhibits C, a structure map, and D, an ice pack map, documenting an interpretation of the Biloxi Formation insofar as it affects the well that is subject to this application?
Yes, sir.
The Biloxi Formation is shallower, as I understand it, than the formation producing in the Briggs well, which is also in the unit.
That is correct.
What is that other formation?
It's the Kilpatrick.
And have you reached the conclusion that it would be economically impractical to attempt a recompletion uphole in the Briggs well as long as it is producing oil commercially?
Yes.
And so why have you selected the location which is the subject of the application?
Well, this will, as you can see on the ISPAC map, it is the thickest part of the channel. And it would be the highest spot on the structure map. So that's why we've picked that location, to get as high as possible and as thick as possible on the sand. And as you can see, it's a very narrow structure or accumulation of oil up against that fault. So you know, the higher you can get structurally, the better.
Is it the intent of the applicant to take the information from this well and consult with staff on potentially an appropriate expansion of the Briggs unit so that ultimately this location will not be an exceptional location?
Yes.
But for the sake of the maximum efficiency, you want to drill and complete this well to get the additional knowledge in order to do that most intelligently?
Yes.
Questions for the commission?
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Apparently there are none. Mr. Daly, please proceed. Oh, sorry. Commissioner Bengal.
Is the surface location on leased land?
I can answer that, Commissioner Bingle. It is Weiser Brown and its working interest partners have 100% leasehold, at least in excess of 500 feet around the entire Briggs, or the east end of the Briggs unit and north. So the surface location is on leased land, and any imaginable expansion is also on leased land.
Any other commissioners? All right, Mr. Daly?
Nothing further,
All right, do you rest, sir?
sir.
With the evidentiary part of the record to a close, matter is ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission?
I move we approve as presented.
I'm sorry, which commissioner said that? Was that you, Commissioner Tom?
Commissioner Lawson.
Commissioner Lawson has moved to approve. Is there a second? Commissioner Thomas has seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Daly.
Thank you.
All right, next item, docket number 083 2025-12. Applicant is Flyway Energy Production LLC. Mr. Perkins is the attorney of record. Subject is extension of temporary abandonment status. Location is section 21, township 8 north, range 14 west. County is Conway. Field is B43 racing area. Mr. Perkins, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Judge. The pre-filed exhibits are listed on page 2 of the application. Those include Exhibit A, a list of the parties receiving notice. B is the fluid level test of December 19, 2024. C is a proof of publication. D is an affidavit of notice. The original of D, the affidavit of notice, was provided to Mr. Pilkington this morning. With the proof of publication, we only have at this point a scanned copy because we didn't get the physical copy back from the newspaper. That scanned copy was provided to Mr. Pilkington. We would ask that those exhibits be admitted and that we be allowed a few days to provide the original proof of publication when it's received from the newspaper.
All right, that motion is granted. Those exhibits are made part of the record with a supplement of the proof of notice. I'm assuming that's going to be in the next couple of days.
It's probably today. I mean, they sent us a scanned copy. They just didn't get it mailed out in time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Please proceed.
All right, this well, the Hill 814 1-21H well, was completed as a horizontal well in the Fayetteville Shale. This is located in Conway County, Arkansas. This well, applicant believes, can be returned to production economically by reinstallation of a plunger and gas lift compression. It appears to have communication with the adjacent wells, which are now shut in due to high water production. Applicant wants to extend the temporary abandonment status for further analysis prior to returning it to service. And it all has to do with the high water production and how that's going to play out. Sort of worst case scenario estimated break-even price is $5.42 an MCF. It could be well less than that. They just don't know at this point until they do some additional testing. Flywheel, of course, would agree to all the commission imposed restrictions. We would ask that the commission allow this temporary abandonment to be extended.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Any questions, commissioners?
Judge, this is Charlie Wolford. Mr. Perkins, it doesn't really pertain specifically to this application, but do you have a witness that, or somebody could provide us with information on the number of wells that Flywheel has returned to production this year, and then how many wells they've plugged?
I don't have that information today, Commissioner Walford. I sort of regularly update you on that, and this is usually when I would do that, and I apologize. I didn't bring that information today, but I can provide it at the next hearing or even send it, this week, if you would like.
Yeah, it's just that curiosity, end of the year question on how the program's going anyway. So either way would be fine, and probably best just to wait till the next hearing then.
Will do.
Any other commissioners? Mr. Perkins, do you rest?
Rest.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, call the evidentiary part of the record will close. Matters ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission? Commissioner Phillips has moved to approve. Is there a second? Second. Chair is seconded. Show of hands. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Perkins, you are still up. Next item is docket number 084-2025-12. Applicant is Flyway Energy Production LLC. Mr. Perkins is the attorney of record. Subject is extension of temporary abandonment status. Location is section 15, township 8 north, range 14 west, county Spockner, fields B43 well spacing area. There are no recusals on this matter. Mr. Perkins, you are recognized.
Thank you, Judge. The pre-filed exhibits are listed on page 2 of the application. Those include Exhibit A, list of parties receiving notice. B is the fluid level test of December 19, 2024. C is a proof publication. D is an affidavit of notice. The originals of C and D have been provided to Mr. Pilkington this morning. We move for the admission of those exhibits.
Motion is granted. Those exhibits are made part of the record.
This is another temporary abandonment extension application. The Jameson 814 1-15H well is located in Faulkner County. In order to return this well to production, it will require installation of a plunger and swabbing back in order to return it to production. The applicant believes it can be economically returned to to production and requests that the temporary abandonment status be extended for that purpose. The estimated break-even price for this well is $4.20 an MCF. And of course, Flywheel would agree to all the commission imposed restrictions on transfer.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Any questions? Conclude your presentation, Mr. Perkins.
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you. Call the evidentiary part of the record will close. Matter is ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission? Commissioner Weiser has moved to approve. Is there a second? Commissioner Lawson is seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Perkins. All right. Moving to the staff docket. First item up, docket number 079A, 2025-12, operators Max Extract Technologies, LLC. Pilkington is the attorney of record. Subject is request for well abandonment. Location is section 33, township 12 north, range 26 west. County is Franklin, field is Rock Creek. Spoken, you are recognized. Apologize. Mr. Weiser is, Commissioner Weiser is recusing from this matter. Any other recusals?
Alan, was I the director when this violation started?
All right, so Commissioner Bengal, you're recusing as well. All right. I have two recusals, Commissioner Weiser, Commissioner Bengal. Okay, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you. Commission staff would move for admission of exhibits A through E into the record. That would include the commission form 1 filed in 2021 as exhibit A. Exhibit B is the affidavit of service. Exhibit C is the notice of hearing. Exhibit D is the notice of violation that was issued concerning this application. And exhibit E is the proof of public notice from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Commission staff would move for admission of those exhibits.
Motion is granted. Those exhibits are made part of the record.
Thank you. This is an application where commission staff is requesting well abandonment of the ES 14851-33 well over in Rock Creek Field. The basis for this is the lack of production for 24 consecutive months. You may also recall that we've had some previous involvement with this operator in the past, and they've been non-responsive to our correspondence in previous applications that have been filed concerning some of their other wells over in the Fort Smith area. So this well has come up with the 24 consecutive months of non-production, and we're moving to have the well introduced into the program.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions? Does that conclude your presentation?
It does.
All right, thank you. Call the evidentiary part of the record or close on this one. Is there a motion from the commission? Chair has made a motion to approve. Is there a second? Commissioner Phillips is seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes unanimously with the recusals of Commissioner Weiser and Commissioner Bengal. Next item, docket number 080A, 2025-12, operators D90 Energy LLC. Pilkington is the attorney of record. Subject is request for well abandonment. Location is section 12, township 11 north, range 17 west. County is Van Buren. Field is B43, well spacing area. Any recusals on this one? Yeah. Yeah. Commissioner Bengal has recused. Pilkington, you are recognized.
Thank you. First, commission staff would move for exhibits to be entered into the record. That would include exhibit A, the commission form 1 filed in 2024.
Exhibit B is the affidavit of service. Exhibit C is the notice of hearing, and Exhibit D is the proof of public notice from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Commission staff would move for these exhibits to be admitted into the record.
Motion is granted. Those exhibits are made part of the record.
Thank you. This is an application requesting well abandonment for the files 1-12H well. A little background about this operator. We found out several months ago that they are involved in a bankruptcy down in Texas. We have talked to the trustee or the operator in that bankruptcy. We do not believe that this operator is going to continue to operate this well anyway, and that's further evidenced by the fact that there's been 24 consecutive months of non-production. We are also in the process of seeking the payment of the bond that's associated with this well. That is also to some degree tied into the bankruptcy, but we're working with the trustee. So this is just part of the process for us to put the well into the program and hopefully access the bond amount to plug the well as soon as possible.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Does that conclude your presentation?
It does. Thank you.
I'll call the evidentiary part of the record to a close. Matters ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission? Commissioner Weiser has moved to approve. Commissioner Lawson has seconded. Show of hands, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously with the recusal of Commissioner Bengal. Next item, docket number 081A-2025-12. Operator is Sinclair Operating Company, LLC. Mr. Pilkington is the attorney of record. Subject is request for well abandonment. Location is multiple. County is Union. Field is Boggy Bottom Short. Champagno. I don't know if that's the French pronunciation. Whatever the pronunciation is, the director is helping you out. And then Rainbow South. Any recusals on this one? Commissioner Bengal is recused. Pilkington, you are recognized.
Thank you. First, we would move for the admission of exhibits into the record. That would include Exhibit A, the Commission Form 1. Exhibit B is the affidavit of service. Exhibit C is the notice of hearing. Exhibit D is a previously issued order by this commission, specifically order number 69A-2025-08. Exhibit E is the proof of public notice from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Commission staff would move for admission of each of these exhibits into the record.
Motion is granted. Those exhibits are made part of the record.
Thank you. There is, as you may be aware, quite a history with this operator. Several years ago, we had an issue with some operating practices that were going on at some of the Sinclair wells. Earlier this year, as indicated with the exhibit that was included here, we filed a motion seeking an order to compel compliance concerning this operator because they had not paid the well assessments associated with their wells. We've had no compliance whatsoever with that order. So at this point, we're to the point where we need to move these wells into the program because this operator does not comply with Arkansas rules and regulations. Be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions from the commission?
I don't believe there's a bond.
This
Did I hear-
are there producing wells?
I'm not sure on that.
I think the director may be able to help you out with that.
I don't have numbers, but I believe there are some producers here.
Any other commissioners? Okay, does that conclude your presentation?
It does.
All right. I'll call the evidentiary part of the record will close. Matter is ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission?
Start practice of, there are several producing wells.
see fire. Well,
We don't actively seek or advertise, but operators welcome to adopt any of these wells out of the program.
okay. Thank you. All right, still waiting for a motion from the commission on this matter. Commissioner Thomas has moved to approve. Is there a second? Commissioner Phillips has seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes with the recusal of Commissioner Bengal. Last item on staff's docket number 082-2025-12. Operator is Reynolds Oil Company. Mr. Pilkington is the attorney of record. Subject is request for well abandonment. Location is section 30, township 15, South Range 18 West, as well as section 26, township 15, South Range 17 West. County is Ouachita, field is Westcombe, Smackover. Recusals on this matter. Commissioner Bengal is recused. Mr. Pilkington, you are recognized.
Thank you. First, exhibits to be moved in for admission into the record. That would include Exhibit A, the Commission Form 1. Exhibit B is the Affidavit of Service. Exhibit C is the Notice of Hearing. Exhibit D is the Notice of Violation that was issued concerning this application. And Exhibit E is the proof of public notice from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Commission staff would move for admission of each of these exhibits into the record.
The motion is granted. Those exhibits are part of the record.
This is a request for well abandonment that was filed concerning the Torrance 1 and the Haltom B1 wells that are operated by Reynolds Oil Company. The basis for moving these wells into the program is the fact that the operator has not paid the annual well fee assessment and has not paid it in years. I believe from the records that we have, the operator is currently in good standing with the Arkansas Secretary of Business records. However, the operator has not paid their annual well fee assessment for several years, even after a notice of violation was issued by commission staff. So we feel we have no choice but to move these wells into the record at this time.
Any questions, commissioners? Conclude your presentation.
It does.
All right, evidentiary record is closed. Matter is ready for adjudication. Is there a motion from the commission? Commissioner Phillips has moved to approve. Is there a second? Chair has seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes with the recusal of Commissioner Bengal. Thank you, Mr. Pilkington. All right, our open docket, the commission will now hear public comments concerning the following areas of commission jurisdiction. First, whether or not waste of oil and or gas is taking place or is reasonably imminent. Second, the optimum equitable rate of production for each controlled source of supply. Third, whether or not any rules or regulations currently in effect should be considered for revision. Or additional rules should be considered. And then any other matters brought before the commission over which it has jurisdiction. Anyone assembled wish to speak to any of those items? Now, for the record, there was no, oh, the director has something.
Apologize, Judge.
Yeah.
I have one item, I believe under A2 that it would require a vote of the commission. As background, we are currently collecting $1.50 in mailing fee for each item that we have to send out at the conclusion of a hearing. It is costing us $1.63 to mail those items. So under Rule A2, the commission can charge an amount up to $2 for mailing cost. So at this point, we are spending we're spending 13 cents more per each piece than we're collecting. So I would ask this commission to entertain the idea of increasing our mailing fee to $1.75 per piece so that we're not operating at a deficit.
Get $2, you have to change the rule.
We will.
Will be.
Fortunately, whoever wrote that rule had a lot of foresight.
And the reality is we're spending money on paper and envelopes as well. So, we have a cost in excess of the mailing cost in itself.
You'll be at $2 before you can blink.
Probably so.
All right, there's a request from the director. We need a motion on that. Is that correct, Director?
Correct.
All right. Anybody wish to make any other? I've got multiple hands up. I'm going to go with Commissioner Bengel's motion. Commissioner Lawson's a second. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes unanimously.
I also want to take this opportunity to thank the commission for cleaning up all my enforcement actions in the staff dockets that I had to recuse on.
Anything else?
Eventually, Director York will have his enforcement actions that I'll be able to participate in.
We've got a few months to go.
There's a lot of cleanup I left on the table.
Director, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you for your report.
Thank you. I'll try to keep the director's report short. The first thing I wanted to do, if we did not do it at the last hearing, I can't recall if we did or not, but I want to introduce the new chief counsel for the department, Amanda Land. She's in the back of the audience here today. If you have an opportunity, please introduce yourself. I have found Amanda to be really to learn oil and gas, and really excited to go on field trips when we're able to get out in the field. So I appreciate that, because it is a relatively small universe of oil and gas lawyers within this state. The second item will tie into the third item. The second item is I've received a letter from Gary Looney, Assistant Director in the El Dorado office, announcing his intent to retire January 31st of 2026. Gary has served the commission for over 40 years and has done so in a very good manner over those years, and I appreciate his service. I wanted to make the commission aware. I got that letter this morning, even though he and I have had some discussions over the last few days. The other item, which ties into Mr. Looney's retirement, is you should all have before you a draft 2026 hearing schedule. The only amendment that was made from the previous introduction of this draft schedule was the switch of the El Dorado and Fort Smith January and July hearings. The intent to have a January hearing in El Dorado with the intent that we will recognize Mr. Looney's service as part of that hearing. And then the July hearing, we flip-flopped that with El Dorado and Fort Smith. So Fort Smith would be July would be in Fort Smith. It wouldn't be mandatory as yet, because we have another mandatory hearing in El Dorado in April for the fish fry. Yeah, that was the only change we made. We're flipping the two highlighted ones.
Director, you need a motion on that, please.
Alan, this is Commissioner Lawson. I'd just like to make one friendly suggestion. I was wondering, just for the interest of travel time and getting through Northwest Arkansas traffic, on the Fort Smith meetings, could we start those like we are in North Little Rock at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m.?
I have no opposition to that. I think with the light docket that we're having, something that can occur, but I'm not the deciding factor.
All right, commissioners, anyone like to make a motion on the proposed dates with the change in time that Commissioner Lawson has suggested? Move to approve with that time change, Commissioner Bengal. All right, Commissioner. Yeah, he wants to adjust them The motion is to adjust all the Fort Smith to a 10 a.m. start time as opposed to a 9 a.m. start time. As I understand it, that's the motion that Commissioner Mengel has made, but the dates are the same as on the sheet, as well as the location. So that motion has been made. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Lawson is seconded. All in favor, show of hands. Motion passes unanimously. Director?
Make sure somebody updates the website, so I get a lot of places, I'm doing like, no, check, I was good.
Will do. Will do. Those are all the items that I have for the director's report this month.
Mr. Chairman, it's back to you.
This meeting's adjourned, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.